touchdown passes last year. 19 were against Duke, Furman, Georgia Southern, and Arkansas. Against Florida and Georgia, he had as many picks as touchdowns. I don't love him. I think he's an NFL quarterback. I think he's a mid-second, late-second quarterback. I watched 6 Ole Miss games last year. I watched them erode against Florida in that game. I had Lane Kiffin on Friday, and then Saturday I watched the game, and he vomited all over the field. I do think he's got talent. But here's the thing. The New York Giants need more starters. They can't be giving a bunch of them up. So they gave up a high second-round pick and 2/3. Those are starters for the Giants to get Jaxson Dart, who is viewed as a mid-second-round talent by most. And here's the other thing. So they move up late in round 1. Look at the teams around them that they moved up. Baltimore, Washington, Kansas City, Philly, Detroit, Buffalo, Rams. They have quarterbacks. You go look at the teams drafting today to start the proceedings tonight. If you go look at the top 4 or 5 teams drafting to start tonight, it's Cleveland, Houston, Tennessee, and Cleveland. See that flashing Houston pick? That was the Giants' pick. Why wouldn't Jaxson Dart have been available there? Look at the teams. They're moving up late first round. All those teams late first round have franchise quarterbacks. Not only franchise quarterbacks, many of the best quarterbacks in the league. And the other thing is, Shedeur Sanders wasn't drafted yet. So if a team did want a quarterback, how do you know? Like, the Rams were not going to draft a quarterback, despite what you read. I was told that 6 months ago. I asked Les Snead point blank. He said, probably not a year. If you need a quarterback in the first round, he goes outside of Tennessee, probably not a year, a great year to find a quarterback. So it's like, time out. You're moving up in the middle of a bunch of teams that already have franchise quarterbacks. There was no other team. You can talk about rumors. You had the second pick in today's and tonight's draft. And Shedeur wasn't drafted yet. So I don't love Dart as a player. He's fine. I don't want to make this personal. He's fine. But I just like, it's teams, the good teams in this draft, like the Rams, they could have used a quarterback to sit for 2 years. They moved out of the first round. We're getting out of here.
Yeah. Colin is 100% right here. It is kind of funny when you think about who they drafted above or who they traded above. No one was going to pick Jaxson Dart there. And the one team that could, the Los Angeles Rams, with Sean McVay, who wants to get a quarterback to take over for Matthew Stafford. Like, that is the clear plan. So now I'm good on Jaxson Dart. And let me tell you this. Sean McVay understands quarterback play better than you, and better than me, and better than the New York Giants. That's just a fact. You can, if you want to argue that, be my guest. Seriously, be my guest. I'm not gonna argue that. And so the sheer fact that Sean McVay's like, nah, we don't need Jaxson Dart. We're good. That to me is telling enough. Because like I actually am I don't want to say I'm high on Jaxson Dart. Because that sounds like that's like too high. That's too strong of a word. I'm not low on Jaxson Dart. Like, I actually think Jaxson Dart can be a pretty nice player. But I also use a frame of reference around people that clearly know more than me, right? Clearly the best. And again, that's a Sean McVay, that's Andy Reid, that's Shanahan, etc. Like, those are the guys that I look to. And so, like, I've always been firm about, like, Carson Wentz actually being, like, a good quarterback. And the sheer fact that Andy Reid and Sean McVay wanted him on their roster, it's like, that's all the evidence that I need. Sam Darnold, I was confident that he was going to be good for the Vikings because Shanahan wanted him, and then Kevin O'Connell wanted him. I'm like, well, that's all the information that I need. Like, I know Sam Darnold can play then. These guys aren't messing around. And so the fact that Sean McVay, like, they need a quarterback. They want to draft a quarterback. They have an awesome young roster that can win now, but they also want to be able to hit the ground running as soon as Stafford retires, or that they just move on from him. Like, that is definitely the plan. They kind of want to essentially have like a better version of what Patrick Mahomes and Alex Smith did. because Stafford's obviously a better quarterback and a Super Bowl winning quarterback. So like they're in this fascinating situation where they can win right now and into the future because they have enough of these, because they built so much of their team in the draft. So they have such young guys. And so that's why they don't want to mess around too much with some of these growing pains. They want to be able to have a quarterback sit, grow, and then go. So like if Jaxson Dart was him, that's a very easy pick for the Rams and Sean McVay. And they didn't. They didn't. Because the Rams are going to be a good team this year. And so they're not going to be drafting super high next year, although now that they made the trade that they made, they can. Now they have 2 first-round picks next year, I believe, the way how it all unfolded. And so, yeah. I'm just not entirely sure what the Giants' plan is, especially with their quarterback room. Their quarterback room is pretty interesting. Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, Jaxson Dart, and they traded up and gave up legitimate picks to get above teams that clearly were not going to draft Jaxson Dart or Shedeur Sanders. And based off of the trades that the Cleveland Browns made, it does not feel like they're drafting quarterback. Because now that they have the draft capital, they have 2 first-round picks next. I think it's 2 first-round picks as well next year, which is supposed to be a significantly deeper quarterback draft. It's like, boom. They're in an awesome position now. They're going to want to draft a quarterback in that spot. It's possible that they draft, and maybe when you're watching this video, they've already drafted someone, so that'll be interesting. But if not, then you literally just traded up for 0 reason. And that's never a good feeling to have. It's never a good feeling to have. Unless you guarantee that you got him. You got the guy. And, I don't know. And this is the problem when you have a GM and a coach on a hot seat that are like as hot as it can get. You have them want to like really they got to like prove their value, and they got to prove their value like yesterday. And so you find yourself in some of these interesting situations. But yeah, I'm curious to see how this unfolds. I'm curious how quickly Jaxson Dart will play. I know they're going to kind of talk about, it's a quarterback competition, but then Russ got there and they paid him like legit money. And they'll say, Jaxson Dart's going to sit. Russ is going to start. But then it's like, you're 5, 6, 7, 8 games in. You're 4-4 or something. And Russ throws, 2 interceptions or something. And they're going to start to be like, screaming for Jaxson Dart. And now Jaxson Dart goes in there, and it's like every rookie quarterback under the sun is going to have an up and down season, have some issues, have some bad moments. You have 2 great teams in your division, the Eagles and the Commanders. And then before you know it, you have a losing record. You won like 7 games, 8 games. Now you're going to fire the GM. You're going to fire the coach. Now you have a messy quarterback room and a new head coach who now is like, does he like Jaxson Dart? Does he want Jaxson Dart? There's another you might be drafting high next season, next draft. And now, there could be a quarterback that you could have had. Like, it just, I don't know. That's why it's always important to look at things. When you don't have a true win now team, it's always important to look at the timeline of like 2 to 3 years. You should be making decisions for 2 to 3 years. Even if you've been bad for the last 100 years, doesn't matter. Even if the Giants never won a game for the last 100 years, you should still at this point be making a decision. What does this 2 to 3 year window look like for us? We're making decisions for this 2 to 3 window. We're not trying to necessarily win right now, win the Super Bowl today. It's what does the 2 to 3 year window look like? And then that does look like, well, what is the draft for next season? What are the quarterbacks available? What are the draft picks worth next year? Who looks like they need a quarterback even if we don't? Can we trade back? Can we get you always got to look at things on a longer timeline. Doesn't feel like the Giants did that because they have a GM and a coach who's like, dude, I don't even know if I'm going to be here in August. Like I gotta make we gotta make moves now. So it's gonna be interesting. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the New York Giants? The New York Giants trading up to draft Jaxson Dart. Do you believe he can turn the New York Giants franchise around? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.